Acceptance, my dear friends, is the most powerful and the most painful step toward resetting your life. It's not something that happens in a day. It's not a switch you flip. It's a battle you fight within yourself every single morning. When I say acceptance I don't mean giving up. I mean giving in to truth, because the truth, no matter how bitter it feels, will always set you free. Most of us spend our lives running from reality, pretending we're fine, forcing smiles, telling ourselves it's okay, when deep down we are shattered. But healing doesn't start from pretending. It starts from feeling . You must allow yourself to feel the pain, to face the chaos, to sit with what went wrong, because only then can you begin to build what's right. You cannot reset your life while you're still denying where you are. How can you change the direction of a journey when you won't even admit that you're lost? It takes immense courage to look in the mirror and say, yes, I'm broken. Yes, I made mistakes. Yes, I am not where I wanted to be. That's not weakness, that's strength. Because denial keeps you stuck, but acceptance moves you forward. When you stop running from your truth, you start walking toward your transformation. There was a time I used to ask myself, why me? I questioned every hardship, every loss, every disappointment. But life whispered back, why not you? And that one realization changed everything. Because when you accept your reality, not with anger, but with awareness, you begin to see meaning in your mess. Every scar becomes a story, every failure becomes a teacher, and every wound becomes a window to wisdom. That's the beauty of acceptance. It doesn't erase the pain, but it transforms how you carry it. Sometimes people tell me, Muniba, how can I accept something so unfair? And I tell them, because it already happened. You see, fighting what is only exhausts you. You can cry, you can scream, you can question the world, but in the end, reality remains the same. So instead of fighting the storm, learn to dance in the rain. That's what acceptance looks like. It's not about saying, I'm happy this happened. It's saying, I'm at peace with what happened and I will still rise. Acceptance is a deep surrender not to fate, but to faith. It's looking at your situation and saying, this is not the end of my story. This is just a chapter, and I will write the rest with courage. The moment you stop wishing for a different past, you open yourself to a brighter future, and I want you to remember this. What you accept doesn't define you, how you grow from it does. When you embrace your reality, you reclaim your power, because power doesn't come from control, it comes from clarity. There is so much strength in saying, I am not okay, but I will be. That's the real beginning of change. You don't have to have all the answers right now. You don't need to fix everything in one night. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is to simply sit with your pain and whisper to yourself, I'm learning, I'm healing, I'm becoming. Because acceptance doesn't mean you like what happened. It means you're no longer letting it define who you are. So when life breaks you, don't resist the cracks. Through those cracks, light will enter. Through that pain, growth will begin. Every tear you've shed is watering the seeds of your transformation. You are not your past, you are not your pain, you are not your mistakes. You are the person who is still standing, still breathing, still trying. That's what acceptance gives you, the strength to stand tall even when the world tries to bend you. And when you finally accept your story, truly, deeply, wholeheartedly, you stop being ashamed of it. You stop explaining it, you start owning it, because the moment you embrace your truth, you stop needing anyone's permission to live it. That, my friends, is where real freedom begins, not when life becomes easy, but when you become strong enough to face it as it is and still say, I will start again, I will press reset, I will rise, letting go. Oh, how difficult those two words sound when your heart still clings to what once was. We hold on to people, to dreams, to moments, to the idea of how life was supposed to be. We hold on until our hands bleed and our souls ache, thinking if we just hold a little tighter, maybe the past will come back, maybe the pain will make sense. But my friends, the truth is holding on to what hurts only delays your healing. You cannot move forward with both feet stuck in yesterday. You cannot build a new chapter if your heart is still rereading the old one. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring, it means you stop carrying what was never meant to be carried forever. There comes a time when you must unclench your fists and say enough. Enough of replaying what went wrong. Enough of trying to fix what refuses to heal. Enough of trying to rewrite a story that has already ended. The hardest part about letting go is not the release itself. It's the fear of what happens after, the fear of emptiness, the fear of starting over. But I want to remind you, emptiness is not your enemy, it's your opportunity. It's the space where new beginnings are born, where growth begins to breathe, where peace starts to return. You cannot reset your life if your heart is cluttered with old pain. I have met people who live their entire lives chained to memories, unable to forgive, unable to move on. They keep watering dead plants, expecting them to bloom again. But my dear, you deserve more than that. You deserve a garden that grows. You deserve a heart that heals. You deserve a life that feels light again. Letting go is not losing something valuable. It's making room for something meaningful. Sometimes we're so focused on what's gone that we don't see what's coming. Sometimes life has to empty your hands so it can fill them with better things. Yes, it hurts. Yes, it's unfair. Yes, you may cry yourself to sleep, but that pain is the proof that you're alive, that you cared deeply, that you felt something real. And that's beautiful. Letting go doesn't erase your love, your memories, or your past. It simply honors them and says, thank you for what you were, but now it's time for me to grow. You are not betraying your past by moving on. You are honoring your future by making space for it. There's freedom in release, a freedom so pure, so peaceful, that it feels like breathing after years of suffocation. When you finally let go, you'll notice the world looks brighter, the air feels lighter, and your heart beats calmer. You'll realize that you don't need closure from everyone. Sometimes you give closure to yourself. You don't need apologies from those who hurt you. Sometimes you forgive to free yourself. Because forgiveness is not about them, it's about you. It's about choosing peace over pain, freedom over fear, growth over grief. And I know some of you are listening right now thinking, but Muniba, how can I let go when it still hurts? And I say, let it hurt. Let it hurt until it no longer controls you. Let it burn, let it break, and then let it go, because the only way out of pain is through it. The only way to heal is to feel. Don't numb yourself. Don't rush your recovery. Don't pretend you're okay when you're not. Allow yourself to grieve the old version of your life and then rise from it. Remember this, my friends, life will keep moving with or without your permission. Seasons will change, people will evolve, and time will not wait. So don't spend another moment being chained to something that was never meant to last. When you finally release what's weighing you down, you'll discover wings you never knew you had. You'll realize that peace was never out there, it was within you, waiting for you to make room for it. So breathe, release, trust the process. Let go not because it's easy, but because you deserve to live free. Let go not because you've stopped loving, but because love should never be the reason you lose yourself. Let go because your story isn't over. It's just beginning again, lighter, purer, stronger. We live in a world that glorifies achievement but forgets to honor effort. We are taught from childhood that success means winning, being the best, being on top, and failure means shame, weakness, and disappointment. But my friends, life doesn't work like that. Life is not a straight line from failure to success. Life is a dance between falling and rising, between breaking and building. The truth is, failure is not the opposite of success, it is the foundation of it. Every person you admire today has walked through fire, has stumbled, has cried, has questioned their worth, but they kept going. That's the real definition of success, not never falling, but rising every time you do. I want you to understand this deeply. the world's version of success is loud, shiny, and temporary. It's built on validation, on numbers, on applause. But the real success, the kind that nourishes your soul, is silent. It's built in those lonely nights when no one is watching. It's born when you choose perseverance over perfection, when you keep faith alive even when nothing makes sense. The world measures success by what you achieve. I measure it by what you overcome. Because true success is not about how high you climb, it's about how deep you grow. There was a time when I thought I had lost everything. My dreams, my body, my plans, everything. And the world whispered, she failed. But my heart whispered back, no, she transformed. That's the thing about failure, it only destroys you when you let it define you. But when you choose to learn from it, it becomes your teacher, your guide, your silent mentor. Every failure is life's gentle nudge saying, you're meant for something different, something deeper. When you stop fearing failure, you start living freely. Because what if instead of thinking I failed, you started saying I learned? How differently would your life look then? Success without purpose is empty. You can have the highest position, the most followers, the biggest bank account, but if your heart is restless, if your soul is starving, you haven't succeeded. You've only succeeded in looking successful. I have met people who have everything money can buy, but nothing peace can bring. And I have met people who have lost everything, yet their eyes shine with contentment because they've found meaning. You see, the world wants you to chase recognition. Your heart wants you to chase realization. Don't just ask yourself, what do I want to achieve? Ask, who do I want to become? Sometimes failure is not punishment, it's protection. Maybe that job didn't work out because you were meant to create something of your own. Maybe that relationship ended because you were meant to discover your worth alone. Maybe that door closed because the next one leads to your destiny. You see, failure redirects you toward your truth. It teaches you humility, patience, and perspective. It breaks your ego but builds your empathy. It shakes your plans but strengthens your purpose. So if you have failed, congratulate yourself because you have dared to try. You have dared to dream. You have dared to live. Most people don't fail because they don't even attempt. Failure means you were brave enough to take a step. So stop beating yourself up for not being perfect. Perfection is not the goal, progress is. Every mistake is molding you, every setback is preparing you. Every disappointment is strengthening your resilience. And let me tell you something from my heart, success that is handed to you will never satisfy you like success you've fought for. The scars make the victory sweeter, the struggle makes the story meaningful, so don't be ashamed of your failures, wear them like medals of courage. Each one is proof that you kept going when others gave up. You don't need to prove your worth to the world. Your worth was never dependent on your wins. You are worthy because you exist, because you breathe, because you try. Redefine success for yourself. Let it mean peace, growth, gratitude, and authenticity. Let it mean sleeping with a calm heart. Because in the end, it won't matter how much you achieved. What will matter is how much you evolved. So don't chase being impressive, chase being impactful. Don't chase being perfect, chase being present. Don't chase success as the world defines it. Create your own definition, one that feeds your soul, not your ego. Perspective, it's the silent force that shapes every moment of your life. Two people can walk through the same storm. One curses the rain, and the other sees it as a blessing that washes away the dust. The difference is not in the storm, my friends, it's in the lens through which they see it. Life is not what happens to you, it's what you make of what happens. You can spend your days asking, why me? Or you can start asking, what is this trying to teach me? The power to reset your life begins the moment you change your perspective. Because when you shift the way you look at things, the things you look at begin to shift. I've learned that you cannot always control your circumstances, but you can always control how you interpret them. You cannot choose what life gives you, but you can choose how you respond. You can see pain as punishment or as preparation. You can see loss as an ending or as an awakening. The situation doesn't define you, your perception of it does. I remember when my life turned upside down after the accident. Everyone around me saw tragedy. I chose to see transformation. They saw an ending. I saw a beginning. Because sometimes life has to break you open so it can plant the seeds of who you were meant to become. Perspective is not pretending everything is perfect. It's not about putting on a fake smile or denying your pain. It's about understanding that even in the darkest night, the stars still shine. It's realizing that your struggles are not roadblocks, they are redirections. They are shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. When you choose to see your challenges as opportunities to grow, you stop feeling like a victim and start standing as a survivor. The world doesn't change when your problems disappear. It changes when your vision does. Think about it. How many times have you looked back at something you thought was the end, only to realize it was the best thing that ever happened to you? That breakup that broke your heart made room for self-love. That rejection that hurt your ego pushed you toward your purpose. That delay that frustrated you protected you from disaster. Every detour carries divine direction, but only if you're willing to look with eyes of faith, not fear. We live in a world obsessed with control, but the truth is, peace comes not from control but from clarity. When your perspective is rooted in gratitude, life feels lighter. You start noticing small miracles, the sunrise that greets you after a sleepless night, the kindness of a stranger, the simple fact that you are still breathing, still trying. Gratitude is the lens that turns ordinary moments into blessings. It's what helps you see beauty even in brokenness. I know it's not easy. When life hits hard, it's natural to feel anger, confusion, and despair. But every time you choose to rise above that pain, every time you say, I may not understand this now, but I trust that there's a reason, you shift your energy from resistance to acceptance, from fear to faith. And that shift, that's where healing begins. The world around you is a mirror. When you change within, everything outside starts reflecting that peace. Your perspective determines your path. If you keep looking at your scars as signs of weakness, you'll live in shame. But if you look at them as proof of survival, you'll live in strength. You can't always change your situation, but you can always change the story you tell yourself about it. Don't say, I'm broken. Say, I'm becoming. Don't say, I've lost everything. Say, I've gained a new direction. Don't say, life is unfair. Say, life is unfolding in ways I don't yet understand. Because that mindset doesn't just change how you feel, it changes how you live. So, when life gets dark, don't curse the night, look for the stars. When doors close, don't stare at them so long that you miss the window opening behind you. When you feel lost, remember maybe you're not lost at all, maybe you're just being redirected. Because life isn't about having a perfect view, it's about having the right perspective. And the right perspective will turn every pain into power, every wound into wisdom, and every ending into the start of something beautifully new. Rebuilding your life is not about rushing to prove that you're okay. It's about patiently piecing yourself back together with purpose. The world will tell you, move on quickly, bounce back fast, don't look weak. But healing is not a race, it's a rebirth. It takes time, tenderness, and truth. You cannot rebuild your life from the same mindset that broke it. You must slow down, listen to your soul, and understand that rebuilding with purpose is not about doing more, it's about becoming more. When everything falls apart, don't rush to replace what was lost. Take a moment to ask, what was this trying to teach me? Because the lessons you learn in your silence will become the foundation of your strength. There is so much pressure in today's world to appear fine, to bounce back instantly, to keep going no matter how broken you feel inside. But my friends, healing doesn't work that way. You can't cover your wounds with productivity. You can't drown your pain in busyness. You must face it, feel it, and then grow from it. That's what rebuilding with purpose means, allowing every scar to remind you of how far you've come, not how much you've lost. Sometimes the reason life slows you down is because it wants you to rebuild differently, not with fear, but with faith. When you start rebuilding, the first thing you must do is let go of perfection. Don't compare your journey with someone else's. Don't measure your progress with another person's timeline. You are not late, you are learning. You are not behind, you are becoming. Every flower blooms in its own season, and so will you. There's beauty in slow growth, because what grows slowly grows strong. You may not see the results yet, but deep inside, your roots are strengthening, your soul is preparing, your purpose is aligning. And yes, it will be uncomfortable. Starting over always is. There will be days you question if you're healing at all. There will be nights you'll wonder if it's worth it. But trust me, every tear, every doubt, every small step forward counts. Healing is invisible before it becomes visible. Transformation happens quietly beneath the surface. You won't even realize how far you've come until one day you wake up and the pain doesn't control you anymore. That's when you'll know you've rebuilt not just your life, but yourself. Don't rebuild out of revenge. Don't rebuild to show others that you can make it. Rebuild because your soul deserves peace, because your heart deserves a home within you. Let your comeback be driven by meaning, not pressure. The moment you start living to prove something to others, you lose yourself again. But when you start living to fulfill your purpose, you find freedom. You were never created to just exist. You were created to impact, to inspire, to evolve. When you rebuild with purpose, you start aligning your actions with your values. You stop chasing validation and start chasing fulfillment. You begin to realize that success without peace is just noise. You start saying no to things that drain you and yes to things that grow you. You learn to protect your energy, to nurture your boundaries, to choose yourself without guilt. Because rebuilding is not just about fixing your outer life, it's about strengthening your inner world. So take your time, rebuild slowly, rebuild with intention. You don't have to have everything figured out today. You don't have to know where every step leads, just keep moving with faith. The universe has its timing, and everything you've lost is making space for something greater. The cracks in your life are not signs of failure, they are entry points for light. Every mistake, every delay, every heartbreak, all of it is part of the architecture of your new life. When you start again, do it from love, not from lack. Build not because you are broken, but because you are growing. Build not to go back to who you were, but to rise into who you're meant to be. Your story isn't about starting over. It's about starting better, wiser, stronger. So don't rush your rebuilding, respect it, because the most beautiful things in life are not built in haste. They are built with heart, with patience, and with purpose. When life breaks you, the instinct most of us have is to go back to how things were, to who we used to be, to the comfort we once knew. But my friends, you were not meant to return, you were meant to rise. The pain you have endured did not come to destroy you, it came to awaken you. You are not the same person who fell. You are wiser now, stronger now, softer in heart, yet fiercer in spirit. Don't try to rebuild your old life. Build the life that the pain prepared you for. There is no power in going back. The real power lies in rising forward. When a storm passes, the landscape is never the same. Trees bend, soil shifts, rivers change their course. And that's exactly what happens to us after life shakes us. We can't expect to look, think, or live the same again. But that's the beauty of it. Transformation is never meant to make you comfortable. It's meant to make you complete. Sometimes life has to break you to reveal the gold within you. You have been through fire, and yet here you are, still breathing, still standing, still fighting. That in itself is proof that you are more powerful than what tried to destroy you. People will look at your scars and say, "You've changed," And I want you to smile and say, yes, I have. Because you didn't survive all that just to remain the same. You are not meant to return to your old patterns, your old fears, your old limits. You are meant to evolve. Rising doesn't mean erasing your past. It means embracing it, learning from it, and allowing it to shape you into someone extraordinary. You see, when a caterpillar transforms into a butterfly, it never wishes to crawl again. It has wings now, it has vision now, it has purpose now. So must you. Stop looking for your old self in the ruins of who you were. That version of you served its purpose. It brought you here. But your next chapter requires a new version, one that trusts more, fears less, and lives with deeper intention. You are not losing yourself when you grow. You are finally meeting the person you were always meant to be. The fall was not the end of your story. It was the edit that made your story worth telling. Every wound, every setback, every dark night carved wisdom into your soul, and that wisdom is now your power to rise. Don't wait for life to become easy before you rise. Rise now while it's hard. Rise while you're trembling. Rise even when you can't see the finish line. Because rising isn't about perfection, it's about perseverance. The strength you're searching for will appear once you take the first step forward. And when you rise, do it with grace. Don't carry resentment, don't carry bitterness. Those emotions tie you to the ground. Forgiveness is your freedom, gratitude is your flight. Let your rise be quiet, steady, and purposeful. You don't need to announce it to the world. Your energy will speak louder than any words ever could. Remember, growth doesn't happen when everything goes right. It happens when everything falls apart, and you still choose to rebuild with love. Rise not because the world expects it, but because your soul craves it. Rise for the version of yourself that once believed she couldn't. Rise for the little voice inside you that whispers, try again.